Hi, this is Regina Mahoney from Essex Junction. I'm the city manager there, and this is our next edition of Junction City News. Today I've got Ashley Snellenberger joining me. Ashley is the city's Communications and Strategic Initiatives Director. Hi, Ashley.
Hi.
So today we're going to be talking about the city's Strategic Action Plan. And we have talked about this before, but now we are much further along in the process. And so we've got some more information for folks today. So, Ashley, can we start by giving our viewers an overview of the community vision and strategic action plan?
Sure. So this project started about September 2023, and it was really, the goal of it was to create a strategic action plan for the city and decide where we're going to be going in the next 5, 10, 20, 30 years. And so we started out with a lot of engagement activities because we really wanted our community to be a part of this and feel like they were a part of our plan. And so we started out with some listening sessions throughout the community with some of our staff and some of our other community members who'd worked on other projects previously. We then had a couple of surveys that we put out to the community. We had a 2-day workshop, which we call a think tank workshop. We had some open houses and some focus groups, and then we finished out with a final survey. The big thing though now is that we have this draft action plan, and it is kind of the accumulation of all the work that we have been doing over all these months. And just to give a little snapshot of like some of the things that we've been doing engagement wise, we had about 425 people take our first survey. We had about 150 take our second survey. We had 84 participants in our focus groups, 40 participants in our think tank. We had, of course, our big community open White House, and so we had tons of people there. We didn't count the people that came and went that day. And then we had a monthly steering committee, and I do want to point out that we have a great steering committee that helped lead this whole process. It was consisted of some of our committee members who are on other committees in the city, some of our city council members. It also had somebody from the Essex and Western Divisions for Inclusion in Essex and Western, as well as our staff members. And really, this was a great opportunity for them to give their feedback, be the boots on the ground for us, and pass out flyers, and also help give us some more insight onto this plan.
Awesome. And the interesting thing and reason why we did this is just because we have become a city not too long ago, and so the community has put through a lot of thinking and effort between merger, separation, and now that we're on the path of being the new city, this is going to just be a hugely helpful effort to try to help us prioritize and focus going forward. So that's awesome. Okay, so can you please review the different aspects of the project and tell us about the first stakeholder survey?
Yeah, so the first stakeholder survey, again, it was about 425 responses. It was where we were really trying to gauge the level of satisfaction with the community in the sense of their living and working within the city, and then just to see if they had a real desire for change or not. And so we started out with this community survey. And we have a little graph here, and basically, if you can see, we had a good group of people who were satisfied and were wanting to change and adapt and grow. And you can see that with the cluster of dots in that right-hand corner. But we do have another big dot of a group of people that was kind of in the center of that axis. And so it really allowed us to see, yes, we do have some people that feel like we're doing a great job, but we do have some room for improvement. So it gave us a kind of some reasoning to move forward with the strategic plan. This was a great way to say, yes, we're on a right path for this. But it also, showed us that we do have some things that we need to look at. So this data that we took from here helped us then to move into the think tank, which we're trying to determine that preferred future.
Awesome. Okay, so the think tank workshops, what happened at those?
So again, this was a 2-day workshop. We had about 40 people participate in it, and it was really a way for people to look at some of the external and internal trends and drivers that our community might be facing or currently is facing. We also looked at some of those key drivers. What are the things that really the city is dealing with? And then we asked our group to come up with some potential futures. And so basically we broke it into 4 different quadrants. And so we were looking for them to look at the community evolution and then the economic approach. And so we were on the community evolution, we were either protecting or preserving what we're currently doing, or we're adapting and growing to something new and changing. On the economic approach, we're either going to be led community-wise or by the market. And so we had people to break into 4 different groups and then to come up with what that future would look like based off of those 2 different those things. So for protect and preserve and the community-led, we had our village, our voice. For the community-led and the adapt and grow, we had the community representation model. For the adapt and grow and the market-led, we had the Zillow Junction leads economic growth. And then for the protect and preserve and market-led, we had a gentrified Essex Junction. And so we really wanted people to sit down and say, what would this look like if in the next 10, 15, 20, 30 years, what would Essex Junction look like if we went in these different directions? And so they all presented out these different areas, and we came up with, we asked them to then, after they had listened to all the different presentations from all these different groups, to say, what's your preferred future? What would be the current future if we didn't move forward in any way? Or what's our least preferred future? And so we asked them to kind of dot map that up. And we found that over majority of everyone wanted that preferred future in that community representation model. This was where people wanted to, they thought that this was the direction that we needed to go into. The expected future was kind of in the middle there, kind of where we, we had, if you can think about that previous graph that we had some people who were concerned. So if we didn't make any more changes, that's where we think that we would head. And then the least desired future is obviously down in that bottom left-hand corner, where it's that gentrified Essex Junction. Our group of people thought that this was the least desired future that they would have. And so all of this data allowed us to look at this and to say, okay, if this is our preferred future, this community representation model, how are we going to get there? And so we came up with 6 pillars. These pillars are kind of like our foundation for how we're going to reach that preferred future. And so the first one was housing and urban design. The second one was public service and facilities. The third pillar was economic and business development. The fourth pillar was transportation and connectivity. The fifth pillar was environmental stewardship. And the sixth pillar was community engagement and decision making. And so these pillars were really the important elements, like I said, to move us into that preferred future. These are like intended to be something to where they're not just one pillar and we accomplish one and then move to the other. It's something that we can be doing all these pillars at the same time, basically. Mm-hmm. And so if we move forward, our group of our community members thought that this would be the action or the pillars that we needed to do to move forward with this.
And it's interesting, I think you touched on this, that we would probably be sort of working on all 6 at the same time because they are all pretty important, and there's lots of interconnectivity between some of this work. So it'll be interesting to see how it kind of plays out.
Yeah.
Okay. So then we had the community open house and the focus groups, and that was right around the same day that we had folks come in and learn about the budget, the FY25 budget that they would soon be voting on. So can you tell us about that day and how it went and what the activity was?
Yeah, so when we first did the open house, it was going to be over a weekend when we did the budget as well. And we asked our community members to look at these 6 pillars and give us some action items. And so we had posters up on the wall where all these 6 pillars were, and we asked people to give us their action items, things that they think that we would need to do to move these pillars forward. We also had 6 focus groups. So we had a focus group for each one of these pillars. They happened a couple days after this open house. And we wanted people to go a little bit deeper for us. So we wanted them to give us the action items, but we also wanted them to think about what are some of the challenges that we might face if we accomplish this pillar. What are some of the good things that could come out of this? So we really wanted them to get a little bit of a deeper dive than what we could get in the open house. So they really were able to give a lot of great feedback on this. So it really gave us a little bit deeper direction to go on. And so from those 6 pillars, we came up with the idea of going into giving us some key action items. And so these key action items, obviously, I think I missed, nope, I didn't. Sorry about that, went a little bit forward. These key action items that we developed for each of these pillars were going to be things that we could really start focusing on to get deeper into these different pillars. And we'll go over those. There's those key action items.
Okay, then the final outreach effort was the second stakeholder survey. What was the outcome of that?
So with that survey, we really tried to focus on the 6 pillars, and we wanted people to rank those 6 pillars. We also wanted them to really try to let us know if we were on the right track with this preferred future. And so we asked everybody to lay these 6 pillars. Basically, we put them into either the economic development approach or the community evolution approach. And so we broke them into 3 pillars in each of those different quadrants. And we asked people on a scale of 1 to 10, what is the focus area? Do you think that this is a high priority item or is this a low priority item? And as you can see, most of the respondents were, when we look at this, is in that preferred future model. So most respondents felt that this was important, and these were the pillars that we needed to focus on, and also that this, basically says that we're on the right approach to what that preferred future was. So as you can see, just like our heat map that we had, it was that preferred future as well. And within this, we had some priorities, and those priorities were the urban housing and urban design, the economic and business development, and then the public services and the facilities. So those were the top 3 ranked items for the pillars. And people said, these are the things that we really want people to focus on moving forward.
And this, you can, looking at this sort of leads you to think about that interconnectivity between these a little bit as well. Because transportation and connectivity and environmental stewardship are ranked the lowest out of the 6, which is interesting and probably not a direct reflection that people don't care about the environment. It's interesting because I think it's just sort of all relative, but also particularly thinking about Essex Junction, our land use pattern is dense. It's well served by transit. We have water and sewer throughout the city. And so continuing to achieve that housing goal with a good design base also helps achieve those environmental goals, because we are essentially not sprawling in our growth that we'll see going forward. So interesting to think about it in that way.
Yeah, and like you said, it's all going to be interconnected. It's not something that we're going to not do environmental, because there are going to be environmental that go into that housing and urban design, just like you said. They're going to be community outreach. This also goes into that public service and facilities. So there's a lot of those different, that these pillars, like, they're interconnected. So they're really going to be something, I feel like, while those are the things that came up to the top as the things that people feel like we really need to start focusing on, it's going to continue to be that we're all focusing on all these, because even some of the work that we're already doing fits underneath these different pillars.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Okay, so now that we've got this kind of information, what are the final steps in the
Yes.
project.
Oh, and so I guess my slides got a little bit out of whack, but these are the 18 action items. And so these are the like we said, we came up with these 18 action items. We had 3 for each pillar. These are supposed to, like I said, help us to reach that pillar. So it's moving us a little bit farther, getting us, the pillars are very broad, so they're very large, and it's something that we might not never accomplish in the next 5 years. It might take us 10, it might take us 20, it might take us 30 years to feel like we've really accomplished those goals. So these key action items give us a little bit deeper into what are some of the steps that we need to do to move that pillar along, to move that preferred future along. So these are varied from the neighborhood feel under housing and urban design to improving community education under transportation and connectivity to even enhancing our community connections within the community engagement pillar. So really, again, even some of these action items are also interconnected as we move forward with everything. So on to the next steps, though. So we do have, like I said, a draft report. This draft report was presented to the City Council at their last meeting on June 12th. We gave a presentation of kind of the overview of what we've done so far, kind of like what we're doing tonight, and we looked a little bit at what those priorities were within the 6 pillars that we have. Right now, we're currently prioritizing the 18 action items. So we've asked the council, staff, and some of our committee members to look at all of those action items and tell us what their priorities are. They're the people that are going to be doing the work on the boots on the ground, so that's why we asked them to help us to prioritize those action items. Once we have those prioritizations for those action items, we'll take this back to the City Council with the goal of them to adopt the plan and adopt their prioritization items, action items that will be moving forward within the next few years. We're also in the part of doing departmental work plans, and this really allows us to start looking at strategy, the current work that we're doing right now, and our budget, and how we're going to combine all of those 3 huge items into one document so that we can look at what we're doing, make sure that we're accomplishing the goals and tasks that we said that we would accomplish, and we're staying within our budget. So big document moving forward within those work plans.
Awesome, that's great. Yeah, because I think sort of underlying all of this is just the restrictions of the budget, right? And the reality of resources and what we can actually accomplish in any given year, and looking out multiple years to sort of help think through this. So this is going to be, I think, super helpful to sort through all of those questions and try to make some priorities going forward. So it's excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else you would like to add?
I will say that we have a great project portal, and this has been the website that we've used to put all of our information on. So all of our surveys are there. You can go on, look at the data. You can pull down each individual questions and see what the responses were. We have all of our reports also on here. So we have a think tank report. There's also a benchmarking report, and this draft report is on the project portal. Once we have the final report, that'll be placed on there as well. This website isn't going to go away. It's going to be around forever. Right. And so it'll constantly be linked to our website so people can see the history of our strategic plan. We will be creating more website pages for the future of the strategic plan and some of the things that we're trying to accomplish moving forward. And then also, my contact information is here. So if anybody ever has questions about the strategic plan, please feel free to contact me.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So I think we just have a few other notes to share with folks. Today is June 24th. And so we've got the Brownell Library Summer Reading Program kicking off on Wednesday, June 26th. So that's very exciting. We also have the 4th of July celebration that CVE hosts, and that starts at 6 p.m. With the fireworks display at 9:30. Also at the city offices, we are closed on 4th of July, but then we're also closed on Monday, July 8th and Tuesday, July 9th. So we also, at the last council meeting, we got the go-ahead to move forward with the renovation at 2 Lincoln. That renovation is in place to do a number of things, between accommodating the new offices for the city going into the future, as well as putting an elevator in the building and some new HVAC systems to just really be stewards of that building and make sure it works for the city well into the future. So the very beginning of that, well, not the beginning, we've been working on it quite a bit, but the city offices will move on July 8th and 9th into what was the senior center space, and so we'll have those city offices open on July 10th in that space. And the expectation is for the renovations ultimately to be done next year in June. So that's the plan. Also, I think we just wanted to highlight just a few of the last couple of episodes of Junction City News, just so folks know. We had a really great conversation about composting 2 meetings ago, and at the last meeting we did a really great overview of the different ways to get involved with city government. So check those out if you would like some more information. And I think that's all we've got for tonight. Thank you, Ashley, for joining me.
Thank you.
And I think we're taking off in July, but we will be back with Junction City News in August.
That's right.
All right. Awesome. Thank you.